Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. It's Thursday, it's full tide. There's a little bit of cloud in the sky. The breeze is very, very gentle. Looks like it's an easterly breeze, looking at those flags on the bridge. And a very still morning. Temperature's brilliant, it's beautiful. It's just a great start to a Thursday. So let's go on a walk and talk. And I want to talk to you about a book summary entitled Status Anxiety by an author named Alain de Bouton. Alain de Bouton. And it's all about expectation and talking about expectations and how these expectations can work for us and also work against us. So let's go for a walk all the way down there to the International Passenger Terminal and get a better view of the Opera House on this beautiful morning. Anyway, so this author kicks off his book with a nice little quote where he says, judged against eternity, how little of what agitates us makes any difference, which is a good way of basically putting everything into perspective. And he raises an important point for our consideration and our pondering. And he says that we are stressed out more today in terms of how we fit in and where our place is in society. It's a big concern for a lot of people, just trying to find their way, find their place, and try and figure out where they fit in, how they fit in. And there is a great concern for many people just trying to figure that out, to maintain it and possibly change it, to grow it. And all of that brings a lot of anxiety to families, to social circles, and it's the topic of this book today. So we are worried sick, according to the author, of not accomplishing what is expected of us, and it drains us and wears us down. So this whole expectation thing, you wonder, is it worth it? There are expectations that we place upon ourselves, which on the one hand are good because it gives us a purpose, but on the other hand, if not managed properly, can lead to a lot of anxiety, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of confusion, because it drains us and wears us down, because many of these expectations are false expectations. We've got to sit down and ask ourselves, where did all these expectations come from? Have we inherited these expectations? Were they foisted upon us by other people without us realizing or being aware that they were being relayed to us? It's an important thing for people to go through and to assess, especially when you're getting to an age where you're growing up and you want to set yourself free, but you also want to clear your path and make sure that what you're doing is part of your own design and your making, and not something that you've taken on unbeknown, and a burden which you carry, which you don't want to carry. So, this whole trying to keep up with the Joneses, I see a lot of people, I see a lot of women who have these lip fillers and their lips are just bulbous. And I just ask myself, what were you thinking? It just doesn't look all that attractive. I don't know where this trend came from, but this hemorrhoidal lip therapy, is something where it gets to the point where it just gets ridiculous. But once again, if the Joneses do it, a lot of other people are encouraged to do it as well, which is a bit silly, because it's something that's not all that attractive, well, in my eyes at least. So the next structured point to come out of this book is that we need to start looking at ourselves, and we need to grow our self-esteem to combat the desire to be somebody that is currently making us anxious. This whole concept of wanting to be somebody, to stand out, to be noticed, is a drain, and it causes a lot of issues to children, gets people spending money on things that they don't really have or can't really afford, in order to just try and fit in and be part of the crowd. And it makes us anxious, as the author says, because at the end of the day, what we want is everybody's looking for status, so that the others don't ignore them, because people just want to matter. And hence the marketeers and the people who make motor vehicles, who make clothes, who organise holidays, have cottoned on to this insecurity and try and attach a label to a feeling of importance and a feeling of that I've arrived and I'm important. But here is one of the key messages to come out of this book. And the key message is, if you don't know your self-worth, if you don't know yourself, it's only natural to base your identity on what others think of us, which is dangerous, because if you outsource your identity to other people and expect to feel fulfilled based on how other people see you, then you're always going to be vulnerable to being abused and to being, left empty, left lonely, and having to spend more money just to fill a gap, or to become somebody just to gain value and gain pleasure in their eye. So instead of looking outward for being justified and for being validated, the author here is saying that we need to look inward. We need to look inside of ourselves to gain a justification and to value ourselves. And to ask yourself the question, what do you like about yourself? What do your loved ones like about you? Rather than just living and hoping and trying to guess what that is, you're better off just asking yourself those questions on a regular basis, just to feel better about yourself. Because that feeling of restlessness comes from society's high expectations, which you're trying to live up to. But at the end of the day, do you really want to be a slave to other people's false expectations? Do you want to be spending all your money and all your time trying to live a lie, or trying to live a life which is not really yours? And this whole thing is probably been spawned by this increase in consumerism, which has led to desires to maintain and build social hierarchies. It's got to the point now where people only feel content or feel validated by the things that they buy. And what you'll find is you'll get to the point where, you know, you'll buy more, and then other people will be forced to buy more, and then you'll be forced to buy more and more in order to feel validated and to feel as if your self-worth has been actualized. And this never-ending competition, as we said before, is very, very draining and very damaging, because you know, all we're trying to do is trying to outmatch and exceed the others around us, which is not all that fulfilling, and doesn't really give a purpose nor a meaning. And as we said, you buy the latest car, and before you know it, that latest car is outdated by a better latest car, and then straight away you're feeling second rate and unfulfilled again. So the author here, in terms of solutions to all of this, talks about the importance of identifying the differences with what others want from you and what you want from you. You know, you need to ask your partner, you know, what are their expectations of you, and to see if that matches your expectations of what you want to do with your life. And the author talks about a story from ancient Greece, from ancient Corinth, from the part of Greece that my parents came from, where we had a philosopher named Diogenes, who the legend has it that Alexander the Great came in search of the philosopher Diogenes, and they met in Corinth, where Alexander the Great came to find him and stood there next to him and asked him, he says, "Diogenes, I'm the most powerful person in the world. I, Alexander the Great, am the most powerful person in the world. Tell me what you want, and I will grant it. I'll grant that wish to you." To which Diogenes nonchalantly said to Alexander the Great, "All I want, Alexander, is for you to get out of the sun, because you're casting a shadow, and I just want to have the sun upon my face." And what a profound moment that was, to which Alexander the Great laughed and just moved out of his way. And he asked Diogenes, what was it? What was the thing? Let me just get it clear in my mind. He says, if I wasn't Alexander the Great, I would want to be Diogenes. To which Diogenes said to Alexander the Great, if I wasn't Diogenes, I would also want to be Diogenes. To which Alexander once again just laughed at and appreciated. But it just goes to show that the great philosophers are not status bound, and was not concerned about what he said and how he said it, which was which gives you a sense of great freedom. So this whole thing about philosophers and being able to think deeply is important, and in order to beat status anxiety, it's all about knowing that most people's thinking isn't all that clear. The final point to come out of this book is where the author says that at the end of the day, we need to understand is that most people don't really think all that clearly anyway, and that and they end up blindly following what other people do and what society foists upon them. And we need to know very, very well that we have a number of marketing agencies and a number of interests out there who are making lots of money, who are feeding that insecurity, that frenzy of insecurity of people wanting to be somebody, to fit in, and to want a label to validate them. And the call to action from the author is to not fall into that trap, to understand that it's a game being played, you're being gamed, and to allow you to seek your freedom by not falling prey to consumerism. And in ancient times, the author says that people didn't have these particular problems, these particular challenges, because there were less products to go around and less things to separate one person from another. These days, as we said, your place in society, unfortunately, is not based on your intelligence, on your leadership, and on who you are, but it's about what you have and what you own, what you drive, what your postcode is. And you've got people who think that once they get their postcode, once they get their car, that they've made it. But it's only then that they realise that their life is even more empty because they've spent the money and they still are unfulfilled, unhappy, and just live very, very shallow lives. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. So let's finish off with the positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's take some lessons from this book that we went through this morning, this book summary entitled Status Anxiety, and to understand that it's more important for you to understand your self-worth and to do it from your own basis, from your own point of view, rather than to outsource your status and your purpose and your meaning in life and your value to other people, because other people will play you. You'll be the center of attention one day, and then you'll be thrown out with the bathwater on another day. So be careful. Social circles play games. Our friends, our families are all part of a bigger game, and be careful not to fall into the trap of being a consumerist, I guess the bottom line is, and to value yourself according to your standards and your rules. So take care. We'll chat again. I'll come to you again at morning tea, hopefully, where we go through another book summary and see where it leads us. Yassas, Filakya from Jim's 5am Club, and bye for now.